So the San Francisco and the Los Angeles district attorneys, they are filing a lawsuit over a law firm that is notorious for filing lawsuits against small businesses over supposed ADA violations, Americans with Disabilities Act. Basically, you can't get down the sidewalk, can't get in the entrance, anything that might violate the ADA laws. These attorneys, they file lawsuits, and the small businesses, because they don't want to fight it in court, they end up settling, they end up paying. And this law firm has reaped tens of millions of dollars. We don't know what the actual figure is, but that's why district attorneys are suing them. That's what we're talking about today. And I know this is a topic that many of you have been following because I've had lots of comments like, remember that one law firm down in LA or remember that one law firm in San Francisco? They do this kind of crap all the time. People know this topic. That's what we're doing today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies here in Bellevue, Washington. And why wouldn't I be talking about LA or San Francisco? This is where the juicy action is happening. So let's get into it and let's see what is going on. So the lawsuit filed by San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin and Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascón. Now, majority of my viewers are not a fan of George. They say that he doesn't necessarily have a tough stance on crime. Maybe this time, maybe things got pushed so hard that he's like, yeah, I guess we're going to have to file a lawsuit against those guys. I don't really want to because that seems like a lot of work, but all right, let's file a lawsuit against Potter Handy LLP. They filed, and they're basically stating that they file fraudulent boilerplate lawsuits against the businesses to seek damages and coerce cash settlements from vulnerable business owners. So it's not bad enough that you've got hey, we're going to have to shut down your business because you are not essential. But don't worry. We'll get you a little PPP money down the road. Maybe if you qualify. I don't know. Good luck with that. So yeah, businesses were shut down. Some businesses got money. Some businesses didn't get money. And the businesses that are being hammered on here, typically small businesses that probably don't have the resources to handle it, to fight this in court. And that's one thing that drives me crazy is when politicians or people in charge say to landlords who are owed thousands and thousands of dollars from tenants, well, I guess you're going to have to take that up in court. Well, how much is that going to cost? Thousands and thousands of dollars, money that has already been spent on mortgage payments, insurance, taxes, maintenance, all that good stuff. Cash has got to come from somewhere. And like these business owners, they may not have the money to battle in court because an attorney, 10, 20, 30 grand in a heartbeat on a case like this takes long enough and they tie you up in enough litigation. I mean, you can spend 100 grand on a lawsuit in a heartbeat. And you're like, what did I get for this? Oh, well, my attorney looked over my paperwork and no, you got to have an attorney because if you don't, you've got your own worst client. You're representing yourself. That's a terrible idea. So what do these businesses do? They settle. And these law firms, they know it. All right. The odds are if we file 100 lawsuits, XYZ percentage of these are going to sell or we're going to get some money. Authorities estimate that more than 250 businesses in San Francisco, many of them in Chinatown. All right. I mean, what more do we need to say there? You got folks that probably have a language barrier. All right. Maybe. Don't know. But that's kind of my first thought is, okay, these are vulnerable businesses. They may not know the full implications of the law. There may be a language barrier. So these attorneys, they are taking advantage. That's the bottom line. They've been hit with ADA lawsuits District Attorney Chesa Boudin calls fraudulent. The District Attorney's Office says Potter Handy LLP has collected millions and possibly more than $10 million in settlements. All right. And I got to say, well done. As far as a fraudulent business model goes, if you've gotten $10 million in settlements, you're onto something. I can't really blame you for doing what you're doing other than it's unethical and you shouldn't be doing it. But if you're going to be fraudulent, at least get 10 million out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's a lot of money. And it's a considerable amount of money when you look at where you're probably taking that out of that economy, because that's money that those businesses need to run their day-to-day operations. A lot of businesses have super thin margins. They pay the owners maybe super thin. It's not like people are just killing it, especially going through the coronavirus, the shutdowns. Oh, 1 minute you're open. Okay. This next minute you're not open. All right. You got 50% capacity. Oh, you got to tell your patrons that you got to wear a mask here, here, and here, but not there. And that entity over there, that masks, totally optional for them. So do as we tell you, not as what you've got going on. Saw a lot of that in California, right? So you've got a situation where, hundreds of these lawsuits going on. According to the complaint, Potter Handy files the fraudulent lawsuits regardless of whether there's actually ADA violations at the business or whether compliance is readily achievable under the ADA. And those are like, if you've got a super old building that you can't get to ADA compliant, there are certain things that you can do to kind of mitigate some of these factors. And I'm not going to get into the super details of that because I'm not a lawyer, but these lawsuits are being filed willy-nilly. It's a numbers game. You file enough lawsuits, you get enough people settling, and that's how you get to $10 million. Job well done. Must be proud of yourself. Must sleep well at night, right? Nah, that's weak. After receiving reports last year that hundreds of small businesses have been served with fraudulent lawsuits under the ADA, our office launched an extensive investigation, and today we filed a civil case against the law firm that has filed thousands of these unlawful boilerplate lawsuits, said Boudin in a prepared statement. We will hold accountable those who exploit vulnerable business owners, hurt immigrant communities, and subvert the intent of laws designed to promote accessibility. These law firms are just, this law firm, they're just going after prey. And prey in this case is somebody who may not understand the law, may not understand what they're dealing with, and may have communication issues. So the complaint alleges that after filing these fraudulent suits in federal court, Potter Handy pressures its targets to pay its settlements of upwards of $10,000 each, often from small businesses who cannot afford to hire attorneys to litigate in federal court. Don't have the money. It's okay. You're going to have to handle it in court. Okay, I can't afford that. So what do? You knuckle under and you pay. You figure it out. You beg, borrow, steal, and you pay. Because as a small business owner, it's either that or put up a closed permanently sign on your door. And if you've got hundreds of thousands invested in your business, if you've got a lifetime invested in your business, you're going to pay the 10 grand. You're going to pay the 5 grand. You're going to pay the 2 grand. You're going to pay the whatever. Keep your business going. Because at that point in time, whether it's right or wrong, you're going to keep your business going. That's your livelihood. Maybe it's something you pass on to your kids. These knuckleheads don't care. They're just like, pay our settlement. All right, make it go away. Potter Handy's business model is designed to shake down small businesses into paying cash settlements rather than ensure ADA accessibility. So they don't even really check, nor do they care. I mean, as far as the scam goes, that's a damn good scam. Hats off. Let's be reasonable. It's a damn good scam. It just needs to be called out, right? Indeed, the serial filers that this law firm uses almost never return to the businesses after the settlements to monitor compliance because they don't care. We got our settlement? All right, let's move on. The complaint also alleges that the firm was able to claim standing federal court because of the false allegations of ADA violations. Otherwise, Potter Handy would have had to file the suits in state court, which are subject to procedural limitations of boilerplate litigation under California's yada yada. Potter Handy alleges parallel violations under the Unruh Act, which allows plaintiffs to sue for a minimum of $4,000 in damage for each alleged ADA violation. So you've got some strategy going on here, right? You've got some strategy. You're trying to tie them up in federal court because the state courts sounds like less of a burden. That's to minimize things incredibly. It's an excruciatingly long day of work for Amanda Yen, who saved tips dollar after dollar for years, working tables as a recent immigrant, to finally take over Hans' wonton house shortly before the pandemic. Just terrible timing, Amanda. I mean, yeah, that's horrible. It's really hard for small business owners, said Hans' wonton house owner, Amanda Yen. But last May, after months of pandemic closure and takeout-only service, Yen got slapped with an ADA lawsuit alleging her restaurant, including the sit-down counters, were non-compliant. And she's probably like, what are you talking about? And some of the stuff probably is in non-compliance, but if all businesses were in 100% compliance of the ADA, I mean, that would be a minor miracle. Large majority are not. If you want to come up with one or two small, tiny things. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with the public, you're handling the public, you've got to conform with that. And I think the vast majority of businesses do. But if you get stuck with this stuff, and maybe her sit-down counters are ADA compliant, but in order to get to that point, you got to fight them in court, meaning you need to hire an attorney. And that's where people just roll over and say, screw it. How much do I got to pay? How much of a check do I got to cut to make this go away? Because that check is probably way less than what I'm going to pay an attorney battling to get to where I'm proven right by a judge or whatever, mediation or however you're going to handle it. Just getting to that point, the law firms know they've got the upper hand because they're attorneys and they're just going to spit this stuff out left and right on spec that, hey, maybe a bunch of these lawsuits will stick and people will just pay. And they have been. Upwards of maybe $10 million. That seems like a lot. How much are these lawsuits? How much are people paying out? I don't know. So she felt helpless, cornered, and pressured to settle. I already paid $17,000, said Yen. Unable to pay a lump sum, she's making monthly payments. We are supportive of ADA laws. We want to be in compliance. We support our communities with disabilities, but this is not the way to go, said San Francisco District Supervisor Connie Chan. These lawsuits have never been about disability rights or disability access. They've always been designed to shake down small businesses. So that's what you've got going on. And we finally got kind of, it sounds like a good sized lawsuit going. And you've got district attorneys from a couple of big cities going, hey, you need to get this stuff under control. It's out of control. You got businesses that are just being whacked by these nut jobs who hide behind the law. So we'll see what happens with this one. But these kind of lawsuits have been going on for a long time, and I've been made aware of it by you fine people out there, you reasonable people. And I didn't know a lot about this topic beforehand, but this is a thing. And this is what, the unscrupulous attorneys are doing. And now it's come down to the fact that, district attorneys actually have to file lawsuits. It's gotten that bad. So whatever happens in court, I will keep you posted right here on News for Reasonable People, because we want to know. We want to know what's going on. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.